Hi, I'm Andrew Berry and welcome to At the Benches YouTube channel. And today we're talking all about hammers. It's surprising how many hammers one accumulates over a period of time. And today I have a little selection in front of me and we're going to go through and show you primarily what the different shapes and types of hammers do. Now for me, in my workshop, we do a lot of repairs and a lot of resizing, a lot of shaping, a lot of forming, and the most popular mallets that we use in our workshop is this. This is called a rawhide mallet. Rawhide is the leather, that's this area upon the top of here. This is pretty much a brand new one. I do have one down here that I've been using for a few months now, and as you can see, it looks a little bit worn, but to be honest, this is nothing compared to the other mallet that I've got downstairs that I must have had for around about 15 years. You can see the difference between the two. And the idea with the rawhide mallet is that you can hammer something and it doesn't leave a dent or doesn't leave a mark. You may think, well, the head must be quite soft, but actually it is still quite hard. And the idea with that is you have a ring that you've just made, you've soldered it, you want to just tap that round, you put that down on your mandrel, you use your mallet and you'll just tap it round, and as you tap it, it will force the ring around the mandrel and also it won't leave a mark. So an ideal type of hammer, as I said, this one here we've had for a little while here in the studio, and you can tap the ring nicely, doesn't leave a mark. You can use it for hammering, for shaping, for hammering something nice and flat, and it doesn't leave a mark. Perhaps if you bang it really, really hard, it would do, but normal use, as you've just seen there, it doesn't leave a mark. There's another slight different hammer. It's called like a weighted hammer, and this one has little plastic interchangeable heads here. This head here is quite solid. It's quite a heavy head, so when you go and hit something, it stays and the weight follows through, and it does produce perhaps a bit more of a mark if you hit it hard, or also it's used for shaping metal as well. This has a little bit of a rounded end to it. Likewise, this hammer does. This is a Delrin hammer, and both of these are very, very handy if you're using things like stakes, sinusoidal stakes, or these plastic stakes here, and you can use this type of hammer for getting right into these areas. The rounded ends will fit very nicely into these areas. Likewise, this hammer as well, it'll get into these areas, and from that you can make these type of shapes, these anti-clastic shapes, these nicely curved in shapes like we've got round on this bangle here. Just an example of something that you can do with that type of stake, that type of hammer. And again, these type of hammers don't leave a mark too much as well, but they're used for more of a shaping as opposed to anything else. The other type of hammer that we use the most, and you would use most, is this one. This is called a Goldsmith's hammer. This has got a nice flat face on here, and the end on this end here is like a cross pane hammer. It's got a nice edge here. This is always handy in the workshop for small little jobs that require a little bit of attention, a little bit more force. Perhaps you're trying to rivet over a hinge, something like that. You would perhaps use this end here just to widen the actual end of wire, and this face here for planishing, for spreading the metal. A very good type of hammer. Another hammer that we use not that often nowadays is like a repousse or a chasing hammer. This is this type of hammer here. It's got a nice bulbous end to it, nice large flat face, and we use this then for tapping punches. You can even use it through your normal work, not even with repousse with the pitch, but just normal chasing or even hammering designs from a letter punch, for instance. Got a nice wide head on this here. Really, really useful hammer. You're not really going to miss a little punch with a head that size. Use something with a small head like this, and if you're hammering, could easily miss it. So I do love this type of hammer. Don't often hit your finger with this type of hammer. Carrying on from the planishing, the nice smooth flat faces, exactly as we've got on this one here. These faces are really meant to planish, to push down the metal and to spread the metal. Now, These hammers can all be used, apart from these few by here, for sort of marking metal as well, as they have got a metal head, and the shape of the head dictates then what sort of shape that it will leave upon the metal. And that then now is coming onto these few hammers that we've got here, that we've got this type of hammer. It's got a nice, fairly sharpish point, slightly broader on this end here. Now, this is very handy if you're doing something like fold forming, for instance. What do I mean by fold forming? Let's quickly show you what I mean here. Got a nice planishing block here. These are some examples of some fold formed pieces. Some metal that you can hammer and that then you can take apart. You fold, you hammer the crease, you hammer the opposite end, and you can make these absolute wonderful sculptural shapes using that type of hammer. Let me just quickly show you what I mean. I've got a piece of copper that we've just simply folded in half. This is the creased end here, and we can use this creasing hammer to come along and tap that edge. All the way down. Turn the piece over and do likewise on this side here. And the idea is then you simply open up the metal, and because the metal here now has been stretched, we've got these lovely lines in it, it will actually produce these gorgeous, unusual three-dimensional shapes. I'm sure you see that they are really awesome and sculptural, especially done in copper like this with a patination upon it. And now, talking about putting marks in metal, we've also got these here. These are called texture hammers. You can buy these already with textures. This one here has lines, checkerboard, again, lines on this one, and another checkerboard finish. And from this we can add a decoration to our piece of metal. Just quickly show you, got a piece of copper here, nice planishing block, and literally go over that, vary the angle, and that will produce a nice random finish upon there. Obviously, what you're hitting here is being transferred onto the metal. We got these stripes along here. We can use those stripes to come along and put these lines this way. This other hammer here is the same, but just slightly smaller. This is going to produce a bit more of a deeper pattern because it doesn't have that spread. As you can see, a lot deeper. And again, these lines upon this strip here, we can come along. We can put a lined decoration along the copper strip. And likewise, you can do exactly the same with the Goldsmith hammer, because we've got this nice little chisel point on it here. We can do exactly the same, and we can put in a nice ridge look upon our piece of metal as well. There are lots and lots of other hammers out there. You can never have too many hammers. I see workshops with a whole wall full of all different types of hammer. I've only got a small selection on my bench here today. So we've got, at this end, we've got the hammers here that don't make a mark, but will push, form and shape a piece of metal that we can use to our advantage. Those are the Rawhide Mallets, the Delrin, and also the plastic face mallet. Then we've got the hammer that is used the most in our workshop. This is a gorgeous frets hammer. Nice Goldsmith hammer used every single day. Then you come to something that's a bit more specialized, repoussé hammer, planishing hammer, creasing hammer, and also then we've got these couple of texture hammers. Now, you don't necessarily have to buy texture hammers. If you can go into a pound or a dollar shop, something like that, buy a cheap hammer. Don't worry about the face. You can mark the face, you can shape the face, you can get a file into the face, you can get burrs into the face, and do your own decoration on the faces here. And whatever you put on this face here will be imparted upon the metal. So these are just a few of the hammers that we use in our workshop on a daily and weekly basis. If you need to buy 1 or 2 hammers, certainly go and buy yourself a nice rawhide mallet. It'll look like this. If you're unsure about this hard face, go and bash it against a brick wall just to give it a little bit of softness, as we have on this one here. We'll use that one for tapping rings around and metal around our mandrels and around formers and so forth. Excellent for shaping the metal. And if you need to buy 1 more hammer, buy yourself a Goldsmith hammer. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, smooth face, nice cross pin on the end. You can also get these with a bit of a ball on the end as well. Just as good, each for their own application. Don't forget, please like and share this film with your friends. Give us a nice thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already. And don't forget, smash that bell icon if that is something that you want to do, and be notified when films go live on our YouTube channel. And in the meantime, my name is Andrew Berry for At The Benches YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Block. We can get our, what's it called again? Texture hammer, and literally